Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In a Sister Wives twist so explosive it's shaking the very foundation of the Brown family legacy, Robyn Brown has reportedly secretly married another man, sending shockwaves through polygamy circles, reality TV fandoms, and most of all, Kody Brown himself, who immediately responded with legal action that has turned into a full-blown courtroom shocker. While fans long believed Robyn was the most devoted and emotionally enmeshed of Kody's wives, especially after the departure of Christine, Janelle, and Mary, newly leaked documents and insider footage suggest that her loyalty may have been a facade for a completely different life brewing behind the scenes. According to multiple sources close to the Browns and courthouse insiders in Flagstaff, Arizona, Robyn quietly tied the knot in a private civil ceremony months ago with a man who has allegedly been her emotional support since the COVID era, a time when the family's fractures deepened and Robyn began pulling away emotionally, not just from the other wives, but from Kody himself. This secret suitor, who insiders claim is a local businessman with no prior ties to the fundamentalist Mormon community, reportedly became Robyn's confidant during what she once described as the most isolated and heartbreaking period of her life. Sources say the marriage was kept under wraps thanks to legal loopholes, since Robyn was only spiritually married to Kody and their union had no legal standing. She technically had the freedom to remarry without divorce proceedings. But when Kody discovered what had happened, allegedly through a leaked text chain between Robyn and her mystery man that was accidentally seen by one of Robyn's older children, he flew into a rage, culminating in what one courtroom observer called an eruption of betrayal, heartbreak, and fury unlike anything we've seen from him on or off camera. In a stunning reversal of roles, Kody filed an official petition to sever all spiritual ties with Robyn in front of legal representatives, demanding public acknowledgement that their relationship is over and accusing her of emotional fraud. This courtroom filing, which was obtained by a local journalist and shared across several social media platforms before being mysteriously deleted, accuses Robyn of entering into a covenant of deception while maintaining the illusion of fidelity for the sake of reputation and camera presence. Fans were stunned. This was the same Robyn who once sobbed on national TV that all she wanted was peace, unity, and a celestial marriage. Now, footage leaked from a TLC insider allegedly shows Kody storming out of court, tearing off a ring and shouting, "She was never who I thought she was." What followed was a spiral of chaos, as Robyn, seen in sunglasses and flanked by a tall man with sandy brown hair, refused to answer questions from paparazzi and held tightly to the arm of the alleged new husband. Sources say this man has no plans to join the Sister Wives franchise and wants Robyn to step away from the circus, once and for all. Meanwhile, Kody is reportedly preparing a tell-all court declaration that includes alleged screenshots, voice memos, and a timeline of Robyn's betrayal. Former wives Christine and Janelle have remained eerily quiet on social media, though Mary recently posted a cryptic quote that read, "Truth always reveals itself, even if it hides behind mascara and camera-ready smiles." Fans are speculating wildly about what this could mean. Some believe Robyn's new marriage may have been in the works for years, as a way to escape the overwhelming pressure of Kody's unraveling kingdom. Others claim this is all part of a bigger scheme to maintain financial control of the Coyote Pass property, especially now that legal proceedings could open the door for Robyn to claim her own portion independently. As of now, TLC has made no official statement, but crew members were reportedly pulled from the Flagstaff location just days after the news broke. One producer allegedly told a friend, "The Robyn-Kody storyline just exploded. We're either witnessing the end of the show, or the beginning of a brand new spin-off starring Robyn as a solo woman in love with someone completely outside the world of polygamy." In the aftermath, Kody was seen meeting with his attorney, pacing aggressively outside the courthouse and muttering about years wasted on loyalty that never existed. Robyn's children are said to be conflicted, torn between their biological connection to Kody and their desire to embrace the man their mother now calls her rock. Even more shocking are the rumors swirling online that Robyn's new husband may have financially backed her infamous jewelry business, My Sister Wife's Closet, in a secret 2023 relaunch attempt that failed due to internal disagreements, which some now believe were caused by Kody discovering the hidden financial ties. With Kody's empire in freefall and Robyn making a bid for independence that no one saw coming, the courtroom shocker has only just begun. Some fans are even suggesting that Robyn could face a lawsuit from TLC for breach of contract, depending on whether she withheld her marriage from producers while continuing to participate in filming under the pretense of being a polygamist wife. As Reddit threads burn with speculation, and insiders hint that this saga could make Season 20 the most watched in the show's history, one thing is clear: the fairy tale love story between Kody and Robyn, the one that was supposed to be his last and most real marriage, has ended in betrayal, silence, and a legal battle that could expose everything Robyn tried to keep hidden. Whether she emerges as a cunning strategist reclaiming her life, or a manipulative partner playing the long game, remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure: the Sister Wives universe will never be the same again. Broken Heart Fire Television. The courthouse air was thick with anticipation, as though the walls themselves knew something seismic was about to unfold, but no one, not the judge, not the clerks, not even the handful of spectators, was prepared for what was about to be detonated across the polished oak floors of the family court in Flagstaff, Arizona, where Kody Brown, former patriarch of the most infamous plural family in modern America, sat with arms crossed, sunglasses tucked into the collar of his button-down shirt like armor, jaw locked so tight it looked as though his teeth might shatter, while across from him, in a corner seat behind her attorney, sat Robyn Brown. Not weeping, not wounded, not her usual teary-eyed self, but calm, composed, and dressed in a navy dress so understated it was almost insulting given the headline-level betrayal she was now trying to quietly explain away. And as the judge cleared his throat and asked once again if both parties were prepared to proceed with the dissolution paperwork, Kody slammed his hand down on the table and said, "No, Your Honor. I have something to submit first." And the entire courtroom seemed to freeze, including Robyn, who didn't flinch outwardly but whose knuckles visibly tightened around the hem of her dress. And then, with the deliberate weight of a man finally done playing the fool, Kody opened a worn manila folder and pulled out a printed series of screenshots, photographs, notarized documents, and one Vegas-based marriage license dated only 2 weeks earlier. Robyn Sullivan legally married to one Daniel R. Holbrook, a name that meant nothing to most but meant everything to Kody, because it wasn't just the betrayal of a spiritual bond, it was the undeniable, legally binding truth that Robyn, his Robyn, the woman he had burned every other bridge for, the woman who said she believed in celestial marriage, who cried over Mary and Janelle and Christine, tearing the family apart, who insisted she was the last one standing, had not only emotionally moved on, but had done so with papers, with rings, and with no intention of telling him. And now it wasn't just a failed relationship, it was deception with intent. And when the judge took the packet from Kody's visibly shaking hands, reading quickly through the first few pages, eyebrows arching higher with each line, he looked to Robyn and asked with the directness of someone cutting through legal theatrics, "Mrs. Brown, is this true?" And after a pause, so long you could hear someone's pen drop to the floor behind the gallery rail, Robyn exhaled, turned to her lawyer, and nodded, whispering, "It's true." And just like that, everything Kody thought he had sacrificed for began to collapse, because this wasn't Christine leaving to find herself, this wasn't Mary stepping away from a dead marriage, or Janelle reclaiming her independence. This was Robyn, his so-called soulmate, the woman he'd built his entire post-polygamy identity around, who had sworn on camera and in confessional after confessional that she wanted nothing more than to keep the family together. Now exposed as someone who had orchestrated her own escape hatch while still shaming the others for walking out the front door, and Kody's face, usually a cocktail of rage, ego, and confusion, twisted now into something far deeper: humiliation, because for all the years he had defended Robyn, pushed away his other wives, alienated his children, and painted everyone else as disloyal. It was her who had drawn up the ultimate betrayal behind his back, and now the world would know it, and as whispers began to stir behind the courtroom doors, as news spread that Robyn Brown had secretly remarried, fans and critics alike began lighting up every corner of social media, with hashtags like #RobynRemarried and #CarmenCourt trending within hours, and while producers scrambled to pivot the upcoming season of Sister Wives, frantically rewriting voiceovers and confessionals, the real drama continued to play out not in front of cameras, but in the hollow space between. Two people who once swore eternal loyalty, now just bitter witnesses to the wreckage of their own choices, because when the judge ruled that the divorce would be finalized that day, citing Robyn's new marriage as sufficient cause for immediate dissolution, Kody didn't even speak, didn't rage or posture. He just stood up, hands clenched, eyes blazing, and said, "You deserve each other," before storming out of the courtroom, slamming the heavy wood doors behind him with enough force to make every clipboard in the room shake. And inside, Robyn sat quietly, her new husband nowhere in sight, her lips pressed into a line that might have been guilt, or might have been relief. And no one could quite tell, because the woman who once claimed she only ever wanted to be part of the family had now positioned herself outside of it entirely, and the truth, raw and unavoidable, was this. Robyn hadn't just left Kody. She had outmaneuvered him, outplayed the system she once claimed to honor, and whether or not her new marriage was rooted in love, strategy, or escape, the fallout would be catastrophic, because now there was no going back, no spiritual loopholes or apologies that could restore what was lost. And as Mary and Janelle received the news via frantic group text threads, Mary replying with a single, "Wow," and Janelle simply texting, "Not surprised," the final nail was driven into the myth of the Brown family unity. And while cameras would eventually catch up, while reunion specials and podcasts and headlines would pick it clean, the rawest truth was already written in that courtroom silence. Kody had been left by the one wife he never thought would leave, and this time, it wasn't on his terms. But the story didn't end with a slamming door and a judge's gavel. It was only the beginning of a full-blown unraveling, the kind that spreads like wildfire through every layer of a family already stretched to the breaking point, because the moment Kody's boots hit the parking lot pavement, his phone lit up with texts, voicemails, and missed calls, not from Robyn, who remained curiously silent, but from his older kids, some of whom had seen the marriage license online already, thanks to a leaked court filing that had somehow made its way onto Reddit faster than even TMZ could react. And when Gwendolyn went live on Instagram 20 minutes later, eyes gleaming with a mixture of disbelief and told you so energy, she didn't hold back. So Robyn, the queen of loyalty, just up and marries some guy in Vegas and expects no one to notice? And her followers, many of them longtime Sister Wives fans who had watched Robyn rise from struggling single mom to first lady of the family, erupted with a mixture of fury and vindication, and even paid on, often controversial and unpredictable, weighed in via TikTok, cryptically mouthing along to Taylor Swift's "Look What You Made Me Do," while holding up a fake wedding ring, clearly mocking the whole situation, while Kody, now driving aimlessly through the streets of Flagstaff in a haze of heartbreak and humiliation, refused to answer any calls, instead pulling into a gas station where he sat in the cab of his truck for nearly an hour, staring blankly at the dashboard, muttering fragments like, "After everything, after everyone I lost," and "She lied to me," not just them, because the weight of it all was finally catching up to him, not just that Robyn had legally married someone else, but that she had done it in secret, while still clinging to Kody's name, to his loyalty, to the illusion that she was somehow different from Mary, Christine, or Janelle. And when he finally pulled into the driveway of the now mostly empty house they once shared, the silence inside was deafening. No laughter from the younger kids, no Robyn waiting in the kitchen with tissues and long, emotional talks, just shadows and quiet, and on the kitchen table, a folded note written in Robyn's unmistakable handwriting, neatly addressed to Kody, a final cruel twist of old-school melodrama. And inside, the message was simple: "I never meant to hurt you. I just couldn't live in the lie anymore." No apology. No explanation of who Daniel Holbrook was, or when she met him, or how long she had been planning this escape. It was as if she had already shut the door emotionally, leaving Kody to sit there among the wreckage of his choices, his ego, and the kingdom he once ruled like a modern-day polygamist king. And meanwhile, the news media had fully caught wind of the story, with TMZ, People, and ET running side-by-side shots of Robyn with her new husband, a middle-aged real estate developer who once appeared on a Utah property show, and whose sources claimed Robyn had reconnected with through old church friends, which only deepened the wound, since Kody had long believed that his and Robyn's union was divinely arranged, and now it looked like she'd been rekindling an old flame behind his back for months, maybe longer, and if Kody thought the internet was harsh before, he was now facing an avalanche of memes, commentary, and hot takes branding him as the architect of his own ruin, the man who burned every bridge to save one woman who didn't hesitate to walk away once it suited her. And while Meri and Janelle both declined official comment, their silence spoke volumes, especially Marries, whose cryptic Instagram story quote, "Some people only stay long enough to take what they need," set the fandom ablaze with speculation, while Christine, happily remarried and living her best life, posted a short, unsubtle TikTok of her dancing in the kitchen to Destiny's Child's Survivor, raising her coffee mug in a visible toast to the downfall of the woman who once claimed to be her sister. And behind the scenes, production insiders revealed that TLC had rushed emergency filming for a new special titled Sister Wives, Robyn's Secret and Kody's Revenge, planning to fast-track its release as ratings gold, while Kody himself, now cornered by legal advisors and producers alike, was contemplating doing the unthinkable, writing a tell-all memoir, not just about Robyn, but about everything, every manipulation, every betrayal, every moment he ignored his own gut because he thought loyalty meant suffering in silence. And while Robyn remained off the grid, her new husband, Daniel, was already making moves to monetize the scandal, quietly in talks with publishers and reality outlets to share his side, claiming he and Robyn had loved each other long before Kody ever entered the picture. A revelation that would shatter even more of the mythos Kody once held dear, and in private, Kody's children, those who still spoke to him, expressed a complicated mix of concern and catharsis, because while no one wanted to see their father broken, many felt that the scales were finally balanced, that after years of favoritism and gaslighting, Kody was now being forced to sit in the very discomfort he had once demanded from everyone else. And so the drama continues, spiraling in every direction, a family shattered, a fandom electrified, a marriage broken not by outside pressure, but by betrayal from within. And as the dust settles, the only thing certain is this: Robyn's secret remarriage didn't just end a chapter. It ended the entire myth.